Hey, good afternoon. I'm going to sew a couple of these together and then we'll kind of go back to the start. Hope everybody had a good Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday. If you're new to Hexies with Easy Piecing, we do these on the machine. Makes them go much faster. And they're very addictive. This is a quick little table topper. It's made from one charm pack. So it's reasonably priced. The fabrics are all, all there for you to have a good variety. So this is what I've got done so far this morning. It's a little over halfway. So I think what I'll do, first of all, the charm pack is Pumpkin Grove from Maywood Studios, and it is on the website. You can order it. It's under latest arrivals or new arrivals, whatever, or you can always just search for Pumpkin Grove and it will come up. And there is a picture on there of all the fabrics that are in the charm pack. So if you're new and haven't seen any, we haven't done Hexies for quite a long time. So I'll go over and show you how we do this. Let me get this package. I'm using the 2-inch Hexies. And there are 120 in the package. The table topper uses, I believe it's 37. So there's really enough in this package to make 3 table toppers. So if you've got some charm packs sitting around that you don't know what to do with, this is a great quick project to do. You could have seasonal table toppers. And I like to make them so you can, reverse them, whatever. So anyway, let me show you how we get started. Put that down. You're going to get a big sheet of blocks, the printed Hexies, like this. I cut all 42 out because I'm going to use all 42 pieces that are in the charm pack. So what we do is I made myself a little mini spray booth. I like to use the 505, the Oda, I guess that's how you say it, temporary spray glue. And what I do, I just put a piece of butcher paper in. I folded the lid part of the box in, and this is just so I don't get spray glue all over everything. So I just put the fabric in the box, and since my can is getting a little low, just spray it, barely spray it, and then just set the charm or the foundation on top. Make sure it's all smooth. And there you have it. I usually go through and do virtually all of it, all of the charm pack. I've got the other 4 there. But I just want to show you, ouch, I left a few so I could show you how to do it. Then after I get them all done, all glue basted together. Now if you wanted to, you could stitch around between the solid line and the dotted line, but the gluing is so much faster. And by the time I'm done assembling the top, the glue's dissipated. So then you're going to go around and cut on the broken line around all the sides. And I'll do another one a little bit later when a few more people join us. So it's a 2-inch package of 2-inch Hexies. And there's enough in the package to make 3 of these table toppers. Or if you wanted to make a bigger quilt, you can just order 3 charm packs. What was that? Oh, be pretty. And I mean, whatever fabric line you like. You don't have to do charm packs. It's just that we found this is a great use of these charm packs. So there you have it. Now the Hexie is ready to be joined in the quilt. So I've got all mine done. That's one I'm not putting in this little table topper. But I am doing something with the other 5. So I've got my first, I'm adding this piece. So I put right sides together, match the edges, and I stitched on the line, if you can see that. So after I do the first line of stitching, and you do not want to catch your seam allowances, which you can see my stitching goes right up to the point, but I did not stitch the seam allowance. So now I'm going to take the one I'm adding, and I'm just going to pivot it like that. I'll show you again. I don't think I caught it all on the camera. I'm just going to pivot it so that the next side is matching. And it's just like magic. If you fold this one out like that, you can see that your corners match right there. And I like to stick a pin right here at the corner where the 2 solid lines meet and put it through to the back side to the point on the one you're going to be stitching on, and put it like that, and then bring a pin over here and put it right at that point. And you'll get good, and you won't have to pin. You'll be able to feel where the seam is, and it will, you won't have to pin. But to start with, I really recommend it. You match it to the point on the other side, and then you want to pull the seam allowance away, which is one reason I like to put a pin in it, because I can pin it so it is away. Then we're going to take it to the machine, and I'm going to put my needle down. And yes, I'm doing my vintage machine yet today. If you were here on Tuesday, I did have this up, but it was a hurried get it together kind of thing. I ordered a new bobbin case for my baby lock, and it was the wrong one. But I ended up switching the bobbin. You know, my tension on my baby lock has just never, from the bobbin, has never been good. And yes, I did backstitch there, 2 stitches. I just could not get the tension, and it was like, it was getting worse no matter what I did. And it got to the point where I couldn't use it. So out of desperation, I put a different bobbin in from one of my vintage machines, and I sewed with it this morning. I cannot believe the tension on the needle is right in the center of the normal range. The stitches are gorgeous, but I want to use it a little bit more before I put it back here in my desk. So now I have the 2 sides, first 2 sides sewn, and then we're going to pivot this one I'm adding one more time. pivot it. I could maybe, it's like this. So this is the one I'm adding. So I'm just going to pivot it from where it was stitched and match this last edge. And I still like to put a pin in it just to make sure. But my corners are matching, so this should match also. Yep. And then this end, everything matches up. I'm not going to pin it. You can. I do like I can control this machine much better than I can control the baby lock. I can never get just one stitch. That's why sometimes you'll see me pushing the button up here to do a manual stitch. Okay, so there it is. We're going to press it after, but there's the where you do your the pivot, and they're all perfect and very easy. Okay, so now we have the last one. It's going to go right here like this. So, and I tend to work from right to left. You can, whatever's easiest for you. And you can do this in the circles, like the flower. Start with the center one and do the 6 hexies around it. And then the next round would be 12. Then the next round would be 18. And I think that's what we're doing. I mean, that's how many are in our quilt. But I wanted this time to try and see how it would work doing it in rows. And I think I kind of like that better. What I did was I put them all up on the design wall and messed around with the layout where I wanted the colors and stuff. And then I gathered them up in rows from the top one on the stack would be the first block on the left as we're looking at this. So this is my next row here, all clipped. So this one here will be the first one on the top left as I'm building it. So, let's get back to doing this one. We'll match those edges, and I pull the seam allowance away as I'm matching it. So then I'll just put the pin down here at the point and make sure that I match it on the point underneath. And then I put that pin through to hold the seam allowance away so I don't catch it. And as soon as we get done adding this one, I'll show you why you don't want to catch that seam allowance. And then we'll put a pin in here just to make sure. Yeah, they match perfectly. If you get to doing these, they really are very addictive. Like I say, this is a 2-inch one, and when you say 2-inch, it's from point to point, what size it finishes. So we have Hexies that as small as this line is a 1/2 inch. I have 3/4 inch, although I'm not sure the 3/4 inch are on the website because that's a fairly new size we've added. 1 inch, which is the most prevalent, the one that's done the most, is a 1 inch. And then we have 1.5, which I think is the one we were working on earlier, way back when I first started doing the lives. Okay, so now we're going to take that, we're going to pivot it, and match this next edge. Fold this and pull it away, pull the seam allowances away, and you can feel my point is right there, right where it should be. And if you want to put a pin in it, put a pin in it. right down to the end of the line. And this is when it's really nice to have an open toe or be able to see where your needle is actually stitching. So there we have, that's our center row. That's our long one. 2, 4, 6, 7 pieces on that. So then I'm going to take it here to the ironing mat. And I've pressed the previous rows. I like to wait and press as I add each row. So you'll see your seam allowance goes this way, and this way, and this way. And that makes that section where they join pop open and lay nice and flat, so you don't have any bulk. So now the next row, it's already dictated which way your seam allowances are going to go. This one is going this way, so this one's going to go this way, and that one's going to go that way, and that will pop that right open. So I like to start on the end. And I think I have to wait for my iron to warm up. But I think I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these 5 extras. I'm thinking that I might just, I was thinking about making little hanging ornaments. I know Laura has a tree upstairs that looks down to the entryway that she leaves up all year, and she decorates it for all the different holidays or seasons. And I was thinking this might be kind of cool, and I have some different packages of embellishments. I've got the crystals, and I've got all this stuff. So I was thinking it might be kind of fun to just put a binding on them, or just put a backing, right sides together, and stitch around 5 of the edges, clip it, turn it, and put a little hanger thing on it or a ribbon on it so they could hang it on the tree, but don't want to waste any fabric. Okay, my iron should be hot enough. So this is how, when you press your seams in a circular direction, this is how those intersections just pop right open. And just give it a good press. And I gotta flip that one that way. And what I like about having the foundation on my Hexies, not having to take it out, is if you've ever done a Hexie project, when you take the papers out, which is a pain to have to do, but when you take the papers out, they all go wonky. It doesn't hold its shape. And this is just enough stability. It doesn't really add any weight, but it's enough stability that it keeps its shape. So this one is going to measure, I don't have my tape measure here. I think it's going to be close to around 20 inches, maybe a little bit more. But a nice size little table topper to have a little something in the middle on the table. Okay, so now this is my next row. And I've got them in the order I want to sew them, so I'm just going to set the stack here. And we're going to start with number 1, just to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So when I join this now, this is where it's going to go, just like that. Because I work from right to left, I'm going to just flip it here on this side. It doesn't matter which direction you work. It's whatever you feel comfortable doing. And over the years, I have just always felt more comfortable starting with the furthest right seam for the piece I'm adding. So I'm going to put a pin right there at the point. Make sure it matches. And then I'm going to pull that seam allowance away and take another pin and put it right there at the point where the 2 lines come together. Pull that back enough to where I can down just a skosh. Right there. And then I angle the pin to catch that seam allowance away from where I'm going to sew. Put the needle down right there, and then I can take my pin out. And I know my seam allowance is not underneath where I'm sewing. And I usually do 2 stitches and then back 2. So I usually say don't back stitch when you're doing the Hexies, because if you go too far, you'll have a little pucker. But if you're pretty accurate with where you stop, I do recommend back stitching, but you don't have to. Frankly, this is the first one I back stitched on, and I've never had one come apart or a hole. Okay, so now we're gonna, this is stitched here, and now I'm gonna pivot this top one to come around and meet with this side. And just, they really do just kind of fit together nicely. And pull that away. Let me go over here because I'm got a couple things that opened up on me. There we go. Well, I'm glad you could join us, Sandy. Okay, so that one's joined. That's how simple this is. We'll take our next one. And see, now this one, you're going to sew 3 sides. 1, 2, 3 sides. So I start on the one that's the furthest right. Like I say, you could start in the middle one. It doesn't really matter. There is no set way that you have to join them. So it's just whatever way you're comfortable. And you just want to match those edges, pull that seam allowance away. Let's put that over just a hair. Okay. Actually, I want to angle it so it keeps the seam allowance from folding back in until after I get it sewn. Like I say, when you start doing this, I hesitate to do it to confuse you, but when you start working on it, you'll get the feel for being able to tell when that point is right exactly at the seam where you want it, and you don't have to pin, which then of course makes everything go a lot faster if that's what you're after. Okay, so that's the first side of this hexie. So now I'm just going to take it and I'm going to bring it around like this. That means you need to fold this part that you've already sewn on, or that's sewn together, to make so that the second edges can meet. I'm having a real hard time here today explaining. Good thing we're on video, so you can actually see what I'm talking about now. See, I'm a little teeny bit off. There we go. Perfect. Okay, these seam allowances are all pressed away anyway, so I don't have to worry so much about that one. And then I'm going to put a pin right there at that point. And I can kind of see if I hold it up a little bit, let light under there, I can kind of tell. But I went a little too far. There we go. Okay, so that's side number 2 is sewn. So we've got 1 and 2. And now we're just going to flip it around one more time. And this one's the easy one. All those edges match. And if you push your fingernail down here right at the point, you can feel the seam underneath, so you know you've got it right where it's supposed to be. I usually just put my fingernail right there, make sure the edges are together. So this is really kind of mindless sewing. Once you know how to do this, This is one of those you can sit and actually watch TV or something. So see here again, this is where this one's going to go, and I go to the edge at the farthest right edge. And then I'm pulling the seam allowance away. And put a pin right, oops, a little too low. Right there's perfect. And then I pin to keep the seam allowance out of my way for sewing. But I think these make a very cute table topper. Or you could do a table runner. And just one charm pack. So now we've got the first seam sewn. I'm going to pivot it around. We just keep doing the same thing. Right at the point. Right at the point. Come down here. Pull that seam allowance in the back away. Got it. Hi, Denise. I took pictures of this decal on the machine this morning so I could take it to the computer and play around with. I loved your idea. Have to change it up a little bit so you don't have those little curved pieces unless we want to do some applique. And I know I don't have too many friends that like to applique. I love to, I just don't have the time to. Always since I started quilting, I always thought, oh, someday I'm going to make a Baltimore album quilt. But that'll be in retirement days, which may never come. I do have a new pattern. The quilt is on the long arm. That does have applique on it. But I did raw edge applique it, or it would have never gotten done. Okay, and I feel that point right there at where the seam is from the previous line of stitching. We'll go right down to the end of the line. I haven't sewn on this machine till I got it out the other day. I hadn't sewn on it in a long time, and it's sewing very well. Okay, so this is our table topper to this point. This is the row we're working on. We don't have a whole lot more to do. That's where the next piece goes. So again, I just flip it down. So if you just joined us or joined us after we were in for a few minutes, I'm going to do another. Our foundations are on the back side of the fabrics. So I'll show you how I do this. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there were 5 left over. So I made the little spray box. I just got a cardboard box, no big deal. Put the edges in to make it sturdy. I put butcher paper in the bottom, and after a while I change it out because it gets too sticky. Just put my charm pack piece in the bottom, and oops, my well, that was nice. Let me get my stuff off the floor. See my messy room. Okay, so there's my charm pack, or my charm square. Spray it lightly with the 505, and then take the foundation and just put it on top. If you want to fussy cut, if the print was something you wanted to fussy cut, it's a great time to do that. Move that. And then usually what I do is I go through and I glue them all. And then I sit down and I trim. You want to trim around the outside edge on the broken line. And I find that the scissors really are faster than using the rotary cutter and a straight edge or ruler. And it doesn't take very long to do this. And where I use the steam in my iron, by the time I get this topper together, there's your hexie ready to go. And there's your sew lines. By the time I get this together, the spray glue has dissipated. Back here, the first couple rows, can't even tell you used it. So, okay, back to adding this. Matching that first edge and pulling the seam allowance in the back away from where we're going to sew. Put a pin right there at that point where the 2 solid lines come together. Make sure, oh, way off this time. Make sure that you get it pinned on the point, at the point of the fabric underneath that you're joining it to. Little teeny. Okay, and then you've got the seam allowance pulled away, so if you angle your pin to keep it away from where you're sewing, just till you get it to the bed of the machine, put your needle down, take your pin out, and away we go. And then we're going to just pivot this piece like this, and it does pull this up. And we'll match the corners of the one we're adding to the corner of the piece we're adding it to. And I still put a pin right there at the point. to make sure I got it right at the point on that side. And this one, the seam allowances are pulled away already. And I can feel that that point is right where it's supposed to be. Right there. Well, if I could, there we go. There. Okay, and then I just angle the pin so it holds the seam allowance. Oh my goodness, I haven't been paying attention. This is just going to be a table topper, a little table topper. It takes a package of 2-inch Hexies. These are on the website. There's enough in here to make 3 of these table toppers. So I was saying, I think it would be awesome. You know, a charm pack is pretty inexpensive. And if you like seasonal table toppers that aren't going to take you so long to make, this is a great way. You get 3 table toppers out of this package of Hexies and 3 different seasonal toppers. So it's a great deal. And this is the package, the charm pack, and it's on the website. And what else? I think I have a fall set that I'm thinking I might do the same thing with. We'll see. I got to get it out, and I haven't even looked at all the fabrics. I've thumbed through it, but not really looked. It's either that or we might do the split rail table runner in the fall, which you could do with this one too. But I don't have any coordinating fabrics for this. This is just going to get a black binding on it. No border. You could put a border on it if you wanted, but I don't have any coordinating fabrics to go with this. But I'm sure you could match the orange or the gray or the black or whatever. And make a little border if you want to make it a little bit bigger. But you don't even need a pattern. I want to make sure those edges are matched so it matches everything underneath. There we go. So there we've got another one sewn on already. And this one's going to go here. So I just keep doing the same thing. So if you normally watch Laura and have noticed she hasn't been on the last few days, Laura's got her hands full with a husband who's pretty much confined off his feet. Had an MRI last night on his knee. So we'll find out tomorrow what they're going to do about that. And check and see how the leg is healing. Has to keep it elevated, so thankfully he works from home. And they both said the boys have both pitched in and been such good helpers, so it makes Grandma happy. But poor Laura's having to do everything. And, oh good, getting a delivery. Okay, so there's the first side sewn on. We're gonna twist it around here and match the second edge and the second point. Now you can tell the way that's flared that it's just right exactly where it's supposed to be. Just like that. And we'll come down and put a pin down at this end. It does not bother me to pin all the time. It saves on accuracy. And, you know, you're not ripping out and all that. Whoops. I don't know what I did to my foundation there. Okay, got it. Pin it away and stitch it down. The table toppers they're not real big, but like I say, you can add a border to them if you want to make them a little bigger. I kind of like not a huge one in the middle, and then I'll usually put, like for Halloween, I have a little black lantern and, you know, a couple little candle things that I put on there. So I don't want a big table topper. And besides, now that it's just Bob and I here, I keep my table small most of the time. So I don't want to, I don't want a big table topper. I'll give you the dimensions in a sec when I get this off of here. Oh, got the whole thing done. Let me grab my ruler here and get a general idea. The previous row is the width, so that's 14. Don't feel like adding today. It's gonna be about 26, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 24 inches. So that's just a nice size. Like I say, this is the center right here. So yeah, that's the center block. So you can kind of see I did like an orange flower And I'm doing a gray flower. And then I have partial flowers, little fill in. Anyway, here's my last piece for this row. Right there. So I'll just fold that over. And like I say, the package of blocks has 120, and this table topper uses 37. So that's, you could get 3 table toppers. 40 times 3 is 120. So, so you'll have a few foundations left over. I knew that one was, So it's a pretty good deal. And if you're like me, you've got a few charm packs laying around that you loved the fabric and didn't know what you were going to do with it, but they're rather inexpensive and not sure what to do with them, this is a great way to use those up. And you can finish them off in different ways. You can add a border. I don't think I'm going to. You do trim these down to straight lines on the edges. So you are going to lose a little bit of this. But what I measured, that will keep those edges. Anyway, I have one that I ended up, I faced it. I did the backing, I quilted it, and then I added a lace edging to it. So then I did a little facing to finish it off. And it was done in reproduction fabrics. So it has a very old-fashioned look to it. And of course, if you wanted, you could add fabrics to the charm pack or a second charm pack and make a much bigger one. I don't know if you're with me early when I first started doing the lives. I did, I think it was 2 inches also, the 2-inch block. It might have been the 2.5. It was a 2.5 because there's 80 blocks in the package of 2.5. And I did 80 different fabrics from scraps. And it makes a perfect baby quilt. Get my iron back on. And I think that's it. Wow, that goes fast. So now we're going to press this row. And we know which way they got to go because the last row dictates which way we're going to do them this time. Let my iron warm up. Come on. Pops right open. Well, hopefully Laura's going to be on tomorrow. She had a lot of orders to get out. They had a plumbing problem yesterday. And she's having to do it all, so she needs a little vacation. And she's doing therapy, physical therapy for her shoulders, so it's just been a rough week. This is when Mom wishes she was there. And this one goes this way. Whoops. So we had a nice, quiet day yesterday. I actually went home early. It was our 54th anniversary, and we are going to brunch on Sunday with my maid of honor and one of our groomsmen. So, looking forward to that. I do keep it hexagon shape, but I trim, like here, I trim off those points. So it is six-sided, but they're smooth side. Now, I have done in the past, I have left it just like this, put my backing on the front, right sides together, and then sewn around on the line all the way around, left a couple of these unstitched so I could reach in and turn it to the right side out. But I had to quilt it with just the batting, so that, and then my backing went, like I say, the backing got sewn on the front. So you see, you can't even tell it was glued. It's with the steam, it's pretty much gone. And I played around with marking how I'm going to quilt it. So I'm hoping to get this one done today. I'm just going to quilt like a circle here, and then, and it'll just be a continuous line so that it comes in. I'll show you what I dug out from my rulers for my long arm. You make do with what you got, but I made it so that if I just set it just like that, and then I'll draw the lines, it'll all be drawn. Anyway, that's how I'm planning to quilt it. So I do want to finish this. So, okay, I only have 2 more rows and they're getting smaller, so we'll get this done. And like I say, I laid this all out on the design wall first, and then stacked the pieces starting at the left side. So hopefully I won't get them all mixed up. And because we're getting shorter, we're starting here instead of out here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, and just gonna flip it over. And it doesn't matter which side you sew on. You can sew on the side where they're already sewn, or you can sew on the side where you're adding it. And if I'm not pinning it, I usually sew on the side that's, where the whole quilt top together, because then I can see where my seam allowance is. I don't know, just there's There's no police that are going to tell you what you do is right or wrong. But you can see I sewed from there to there on the line on this one. Now I'm going to pivot it around. Match those. And I can feel that that end is right there at the seam. So we want to make those edges, you want all your edges to match. So you don't get it, what's that word? Cattywampus? So yes, I'm hoping that my baby lock is truly going to hold the tension so I can quilt this on there. Because I don't want to have to put it on the long arm. That's just too much work for such a small project. Okay, got that one done. This one goes here. Flip it down. Oh, thank you. It's the Bob has managed to get his heart attack 3 days before our 50th. We had a big party planned, and that got canceled. And of course, last year he was in the hospital from the accident. So it's kind of nice to be together and not spend it in the hospital. We always dread the month of July because since that, happened, we told Donald yesterday he took care of it this year, having the accident. Well, he didn't have an accident, but he got the injury this year instead of Dad. So July's hasn't been a fun month for a while. Look at that. Okay, so then we've done this line. We're gonna pivot it. And it's obviously the same process no matter which size hexie you're making. At some point, I am going to introduce a Block of the Month hexie program. I've got it all designed. I just have to have the time to, it's so close to being done. But I don't want it to be a mystery quilt, so I'm trying to get it finished. Okay, 2 sides sewn. Flip this around one more time. Match that. And match this. Oh. One. Okay. Goes pretty fast, guys. And I got a lot of my border blocks done on the Italian geese quilt. So I'm hoping next week to share the finish on that one. Oops, forgot to put my needle or my thing in forward. Forward, Deb, forward. Okay, that's first one's done. We'll rotate it around. Oh, I did. I thought I snipped a piece of fabric. I snipped the very tip of the corner off. Well, that wasn't very nice. Pin. There we go. And we'll come down here. Should be right there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, ready to go. Turn up. Matches perfect there. I think I used the word perfect too much. Match that one. Let's stitch this down. And yes, I do cut my threads as I go. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3. 2 more to go on this row. This one's going to go right there. Starting to get that anxious feeling that it's going to be done shortly. Well, what is wrong with me? I can't make the pins work. Okay. The only thing wrong with these vintage machines is the pedal is different. And I keep pushing it away from me. Okay. Put our pin in there. Ouch. Stab ourselves. And one more side. You know, I do take these, well, now that I do all the driving, I don't. But in the past, I would take these with us when we traveled, and I would actually stitch them by hand. Just do a running, you know, good running stitch. Look at that. All those joints are beautiful. And the last one for this row. So especially the 1-inch ones, they're a good little, you know, I've spent so much time at hospitals in the last couple of years. It was a great project for me to carry with me. As I could do, like, the one Hexie, small Hexie project was all flowers. And I was doing the 1-inch ones, so they were very easy to work with and easy to take just a little a little bag with my needle and thread and scissors, and I would come home at night and glue them and trim them and cut them all out, so then I could have a baggie to take with me to the hospital the next day. And got a lot done that way. I can't just sit and have idle hands. So it was either knitting or doing Hexies. Oh, I thought I ran out of bobbin thread. These bobbins are, and I have to remember that, these bobbins are smaller in these vintage machine, or this, in the featherweights. Okay, side number 1 done. We're going to pivot it. Pull that up so those corners meet. And if they do, there's a pretty good chance when you put your pin through at that point, it's going to come out at the other point. And this, when you're pulling the seam allowance away, so you don't catch it in your stitching. Oh, look at that, it came out right where it was supposed to. So I put the pin in at an angle to hold that seam allowance away. So I'm going to be stitching on this line from there over to here. And you don't want to catch your seam allowance in there. So if you're new here, thank you for joining us. We're doing easy piecing is leave-in foundations. And these Hexies, I know you can't really see it. These Hexies are being made on the leave-in foundation. Okay, I've got 2 sides, this side and this side sewn. So now we're just going to flip that. And just move that up so your points here match. And your edges match. And like I say, if the corners of your fabric match, there's a good chance when you put your pin in here, it's going to come out right where you want it, just like that. And this end looks yep. And you just sew where the line starts to where it ends. My iron heating up again. Make sure I went all the way down to the line. Yes, I did. Okay, this row is done. So I'm going to press this. Okay, that one's going that way. We're going to go like that. Then it's awesome because when you flip this over to the right side, there's no bulk there at that joint. But that's why you don't want to catch your seam allowances in your stitching. If you did, you wouldn't be able to open that up there where they all come together. I like I say, I don't always pin, and when I don't always pin, sometimes I catch the seam allowance. Makes me unhappy. There we have it. And if you want to wait until you get the whole thing done before you start pressing, that's perfectly fine too. And then I usually like to flip it over and give it a little press on the front side. There we go. And so we just have the one last row of 4 pieces to put on here. Remember, this is called Pumpkin Grove. It's from Maywood Studios. First one's going to go right there. Up just a tad. There we go. And like I've been saying all afternoon, put that in at an angle to keep that seam allowance out of your way when you sew. Okay, now I'm just going to pivot that like that. Right down to here. Okay. Number 2 here, like that. I'm going to flip it down here. I'm going to get this done today. Yay. Pin that seam allowance out of my way on the underneath side. But these are those dreaded Y seams everybody hates, and they're really very simple to do. I think it's having the line to know right where to stop and start and where to match is what makes this so simple. This is what gave me courage to not be afraid of Y seams on the big quilts. So we do them the same way. And I really do believe it's having the line, because before I would mark the point, you know, 1/4 inch to know where to stop and all that, but never worked out quite as good as it does with the foundations. Just something about it. Oh, do I only have one piece left after this? Is that right? No. No, there's 2. See, boy. Okay. Let's turn this one. Match those edges. And come down here. That coming out right where it's supposed to. So you can kind of see the flowers. Okay, and that one's going to go there. Match it like that. And put this so it holds that seam allowance away. this thread? There we go. I was trying not to say that word. Pretty much. It's probably a little heavier than most of you like to work with. I'm trying to think. That's, yeah, pretty much. Sometimes 40 weight. But the 30 weight pretty much is the same width as the lines that are printed. And I don't know, years ago I started using this thread, and just kind of, you know, you go with what you like, and the tension's good. So, and I have a lot of it in stock, so. So that's kind of, there's no right or wrong. It's what you get used to, what you like. Obviously, if you use a thinner thread, lighter weight thread, you might get a flatter seam. But I'm pretty happy with you know, what I've got here. So I know when I'm teaching and my students are using that fine thread, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of it, but I do know I do know that it's probably better to use a 40 weight or 50 or whatever it is. But I've just gotten used to using this. And I do have other weights. I'm not one who's like real, what is it? Play by the rules kind of thing. You know, you'll hear certain teachers say that's all you know, always use this or whatever. The only thing I'm really adamant about is in the regular foundation piecing is please get it out a quarter ruler. You'll just be it's just important. It will make your life easier. But other than that, you know, I'm pretty flexible. I always tell people I would rather have you do what's comfortable to you. You can get the same results any number of ways. It's just what are you most, how does it make you feel to do it? You know, if you're not having fun, you don't want to do it, you know? So sometimes you go with what you have, if at all possible. I'm one of those kind who, well, because I live in the country and there's no place close to get much of anything. I've always kind of made do with what I have. I do have a huge stock, but I didn't always. And I just, like I say, in my classes when I teach, it's how do you feel about doing this? You know, what way is most comfortable for you? What way are you going to enjoy? What way are you going to do your best job? And let's go with that. So, and we're not all exactly the same. Sometimes our fingers don't work the same. Our eyesight isn't the same. So there's so many factors, and there is no definite wrong or right. As long as you end up with a pleasing outcome, I don't care how you got there. So, yes, this is one of my featherweights. This is a 1951. This one doesn't get used a lot, so that's why last week when my baby lock gave me fits, or earlier this week, when my baby lock gave me fits, I brought this one out because she hasn't been used that much. So, and I do like to use all of my vintage machines, and I hate to say this, but there's a number of them that I haven't used probably in over a year. So as this remodeling gets done, I'm going to be bringing them out, and we'll have some sessions using the treadle machines. I'll introduce you to my babies. But as you see from glimpses when I'm moving around, this whole place is a mess. We are making headway, though. Okay, guys. I think that was the last seam. Ta-da! Let me press it. And the back looks so good. Yeah. And then I'm gonna mark it. And I have some fabric. Haven't even opened this bolt. This is what I'm going to use in the back. And I'll go put this up on the design wall and get back so you can see the whole thing. And I got pins over there. Over here someplace. Put a couple pins. Okay. There it is. I kind of like that. That one flower really stands out. Well, when you start looking at the other ones. So now I'm going to trim the 6 sides to be straight. And then I'm going to mark it for my quilting. And I'm going to get it done tonight. So I'll show it to you on Saturday. I hope to have the rest of those blocks done for the big Italian goose one. So I'll share that with you on Saturday. And Not sure what we're going to do. I have a pretty good hunch. I'm going to be working on a fall quilt. Um, and I think that's it. So I won't bore you with trimming and all that stuff, but that's what I'm going to do next, and then I'll get it quilted. And it's a fun little project. If you're interested, like I say, this is the package of Hexies, 2 inches, 120 2-inch Hexies in there for $14.95. And this is this charm pack, Pumpkin Grove, and it is all on the website. And the package of Hexies will yield you 3 little table toppers like this. And if you want it bigger, you could, I had thought about interspersing a lot of plain black blocks or Hexies and using the other 5, and I could have got another round on here to make it bigger. So, that's something you can do. Unfortunately, I didn't know what these fabrics really look like. And I did not buy any of the coordinating fabrics to go with this. I had just, from the beginning, planned to add an orange or black or both. So anyway, just my ideas. So we'll see you on Saturday, I hope. I really thank you for joining me today. Hope you didn't get too bored, but you did see how fast these Hexie projects can go, which is always a plus. So I'll hopefully see you Saturday. And if all goes well in Virginia the rest of this day, you will see Laura tomorrow. She's on from 10 to noon Eastern time. I'll be back on Saturday at noon West Coast time, and hope to see you then. In the meantime, hope you're sewing in something fun, having a good time, or at least get to sew a little bit. It's my happy time. So I'm real happy I got this done today. So we'll see you Saturday, and take care. Have a great rest of your day and a wonderful Friday. And I will see you Saturday. Thanks. Bye-bye.